Hi, HRN listeners. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary, and we have a really fun campaign and an ask for you. This 15th anniversary tour is aiming to bring you closer to unique food and music experiences in some of the most exciting cities in America. All the while, we're raising funds to support our work empowering the next generation of food systems storytellers through our fellowship programs. Here's how it works. Donate to HRN and be entered into a raffle in the city of your choice to win a dinner for two at a noteworthy restaurant and tickets for two to a concert at a prominent local venue. We have incredible partners in New York, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Nashville, Las Vegas, Charleston, Asheville, and Ardmore, Pennsylvania, who have donated a meal for two and two tickets to a concert of the winner's choice. And all donations help fund our fellowship programs, where we're helping to build essential workforce readiness skills and food system storytelling skills. Check out heritageradionetwork.org/15 to donate and enter to win today. That's heritageradionetwork.org/15. Thank you.
You're listening to Heritage Radio Network. HRN is food radio supported by you. Learn more at heritageradionetwork.org. Welcome to Spill and Dish, a podcast from the Specialty Food Association. Founded in 1952, SFA is the leading trade association and source of information about the $175 billion specialty food industry. We champion the food producers, retailers, and other buyers who make up the specialty food world. If you want to know more about membership, visit specialtyfood.com. In each episode, we want to share the stories behind the products made and sold by our members who are helping shape the future of food. You can listen and discover the inspiration, recipe, craft, culture, ingredients, and production methods that help answer the question, what makes specialty food special? I'm today's host, Gretchen Van Esselston, Director of Education and Programs at SFA. We're excited to bring you today's episode and so happy to be working with Heritage Radio Network, a nonprofit podcast network covering the world of food, drink, and agriculture and expanding the way eaters think about food. Today's guest is Jennifer Boggiss, the visionary CEO and co-founder of New Zealand-based Heilala Vanilla. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thanks for having me, Gretchen. Excited to be here.
Fantastic. So what time is it there in your part of the world?
It's 9:30 in the morning.
All right. And it's...
a Wednesday. I've just come back from 3 weeks in the States. So, yeah, I'm still adjusting back to the New Zealand time zone.
I'm sure. Well, it's Wednesday here too, and it is 4:30 in the afternoon. So you're probably having some coffee or tea, and I'm getting ready to wind down. But I'm so happy that we're able to be together. So I wanted to start out. So I know your slogan is the good vanilla. Mm-hmm. Could you tell me about that?
Yes, so we are globally unique, I think, in that, our business was founded from an aid project by my father to create sustainable livelihoods in Tonga, South Pacific nation, near Fiji, for those of you that don't know where Tonga is. And that was back in 2002 following a hurricane, and that purpose and vision has really stayed with the business right through until today and continues to stay with us. Last year we became B Corp certified, which really what I call solidifies all our values and ethos and way of doing business. So that's how we came up with the good vanilla.
Fantastic. Well, let's dig into that B Corp a little bit. I know a lot of our listeners out there are interested in potentially becoming B Corp certified, and I know some of our board members at SFA have gone through the process. I'd love to hear a little bit more about what that was like.
For us, it was a natural, I keep coming back to it, it's such a natural fit because, there's lots of certifications out there and you could spend so much, as a smaller business, you could spend a lot of time and resource on certifications, but we felt that B Corp was a natural fit for us. It covered our people, our community, how we treat the environment. We're a zero waste business, which is another unique thing in the vanilla world, a process that we have patented. So it was just a natural fit for us. We didn't have to, go and change any part of our business. It was more just documentation, really. And our score was 104. The minimum is 80 to qualify. So, yeah, it just felt right for us.
Fantastic. Well, you mentioned the production process, and zero waste is an unbelievable goal. Could you talk, I know you have a patented process, but whatever you can tell us, can you talk a little bit about that production process, that special way that you go from the harvest to table?
Yeah, sure. So in Tonga, just to step back a bit, we, were founded after a cyclone to provide sustainable livelihoods to a community and an extended family in the northern islands of Tonga. So we planted a vanilla plantation on some land that my father was gifted, and that was back in 2002. In 2005, we got our first crop, and my father passed it to me, and I brought it back to New Zealand and showed it to some chefs who said it was the best vanilla they'd ever seen. And then fast forward to sort of today, we now partner with over 300 vanilla farmers in Tonga, and we also have over 100 acres that we have planted to booster our supply chain, if you like. So we dry the vanilla in Tonga in the traditional way, under the sun, slow, turning it every day, putting it away at night, just a bit like babies and children. And then we bring it back to New Zealand, where we do a cold extraction. So again, a lot of the big industrial vanilla companies do heat extraction over 4 hours. We do cold extraction over 3 months. And then we make a range of products from vanilla extract, obviously as the base product. And then from there we do vanilla paste, which we use vanilla seeds in, vanilla powder, and then, our unique patented processes around a bioactive that we've discovered as a cosmetic ingredient. So it's a total zero waste process.
Beautiful. What's it like in Tonga? Tell me some more about it, what it's like there.
Tonga is, we fell in love with the country and the place. My father was a very accomplished spear diver. He was in the world champs and things at the time competing. And it was always his vision to go to Tonga because he'd heard about how beautiful it was to go spear diving. And we celebrated his milestone birthday up there. And we all fell in love with the people in the place. And, that was 20 plus years ago. So Tonga's more for the intrepid traveller, I would say. It's not like Fiji. There's no spas or five-star hotels or cocktails or massages. It's more, rustic, but incredibly beautiful, and the people are incredibly friendly and lovely. And the big attraction in Tonga is swimming with the whales, humpback whales, from July till September. They've just finished. We're incredibly fortunate that over the 20 plus years that we've been in Tonga, we have formed really close relationships with that initial founding family. The head of the family, donated my father the land in return for providing employment, and his granddaughter is actually the manager of our Tongan operation now. So that feels really special and purposeful to me.
How nice that is that you have the part of your family business and then working with that family business as well. Tell me a little bit more about what was it like? Did you kind of grow up with this business, or did it get handed from your dad? How did that all happen?
No, I grew up. My dad was a dairy farmer, and he had, along with a crop grower and a boat builder and a deer farmer, he had venison. So he was quite the entrepreneur growing up as a child. And both my brothers have also got successful businesses, nothing to do with vanilla. And he sold the dairy farm, and at 60, he wasn't really looking to go to the golf club or the bowling club as they do in New Zealand and Australia. And he wanted something that was purposeful, and, Tonga just came to him, obviously, after he'd spent that time there spear diving and getting to know the community. I was an accountant at the time, and I was a bit sort of bored with life. It was a career that I went to university and then sort of just naturally progressed through that. And I thought there has to be something more to life. I was an accountant for a trucking and forestry group of businesses, and it wasn't really floating my boat. So I wanted something that was more purposeful. And when my father handed me those first vanilla beans and I brought them back to New Zealand, it kind of sowed the seed and went from there. So I hope that answers the question.
I would imagine, though, an accounting background would help getting into business and into the specialty food business in general. I mean, in specific.
Yes, absolutely. So for the first 10 years, I was the accountant for the business along with market. I did a degree at university, business management degree. So I kind of had exposure to marketing, sales. But, when it's a small business, you're pretty much doing everything. Now we have a finance team and a great CFO on our team. So, but it definitely helps having that understanding cash flows, balance sheets, all those sorts of things, especially as the business grows and you look to fund that growth. Vanilla's incredibly cash hungry along working capital life cycle because you're hand pollinating a flower. And then 9 months later, you get a green vanilla bean, and then 3 months of curing and drying. Then it comes to New Zealand to our factory, and then it goes through 3 months of extraction. So that's, 15 months. And then you're producing a product and packaging it and shipping it. So, it can be kind of 18 months to 2 years sort of working capital life cycle. So, yeah, it's incredibly complex business. I keep saying to people, there's nothing vanilla about vanilla because vanilla gets a bad rep for being boring. But yeah, there's nothing vanilla about vanilla.
That expression never made any sense to me because it is such a rich flavor.
Yeah.
So one of the things I found interesting when I was doing research before talking to you, I know that you have a really great presence among chefs, and your food service game is in fact you were named a game changer by Food and Wine magazine, and actually my buddy pastry chef Caroline Schiff had a great quote about and it's funny, I just saw her this morning at an event, and we talked about your vanilla and how much we love it. So chefs, when they're selecting a food service product, to select a really premium product like yours is, and which of course would come at a premium cost, they really have to fall in love with it, and it seems like they really do. How has it been sort of being in the food service channel and working with chefs?
Well, that's how we started the business back in 2005 when I took those first vanilla beans to some chefs in Auckland to see what they thought. So vanilla typically goes through about 10 plus sets of hands, from the grower to the processor to the consolidators, the exporter, import. It's an incredibly long supply chain, whereas ours is very uniquely very short. And so those chefs in New Zealand in the early days really gave us validation, I suppose, for the quality of the product. And then we took it to Australia and did the same thing, and really approached chefs that were, had a great reputations to provide that sort of endorsement and validation. When we went into the US market, I think it was 2017, one of our first kind of trips. And 11 Madison Park had just been named number one restaurant in the top 50 list. And we thought, if we're going to be taken seriously in the US market, we need to be in 11 Madison Park. So we tracked down the pastry chef at the time, was Mark Wilker. And we said, we're two girls from New Zealand. We've got this vanilla brand. Could you spare 10 minutes? And he thankfully said yes, and we went into the kitchen at the Nomad Hotel, which was part of the Make It Nice group at the time, and it turned out to be there was about 20 chefs in that kitchen, and we did a presentation, and following that we had our first order and first customer. And then it turns out that the pastry chef community is very tight and great word of mouth and validation, and and then we picked up a number of other chefs in New York that really helped sort of launch us into the US market.
Fantastic. And then how about retail? What are home consumers thinking?
Yeah, so again, in that 2017 period, we launched on Amazon. As you know, the retail market can be a lot more complex to get distribution.
Yeah.
We quickly got Bristol Farms and Erewhon over on in California. And
Amazing.
then we have sort of slowly been working away at retail. Last year, we partnered with a great partner, Gather Brands, who focus on women-owned, women-led businesses in this, natural specialty food space. And just recently, we have launched into a number of new retailers, including Sprouts nationwide, and Harmon's in Utah, a number of other ones, Good Earth, Good Market. So yeah, exciting, lots more to come.
Those are amazing places to be selling in, and to have started so early with Bristol Farms and Erewhon, incredible.
Yeah, obviously COVID played a bit of a handbrake on things in that retail space, but fortunately we have had great presence and ranking on Amazon, and we've also got our own D2C site.
Fantastic. So if you could start over, or is there anything you do differently in getting into this business?
Oh gosh, that's a question. And
It's okay to say no. I just want, it's always interesting to hear about like the entrepreneurial journey and anything that you feel like, next time I might have done it this way.
I think when I reflect back, probably the one thing I would do would be to get people around me sooner, quicker, so that you can go, harder, faster, kind of. When you're growing a small business and bootstrapping it, I mean, we have done a cap raise, but, in those early days, it's incredibly tough because you're, basically hand to mouth.
Sure.
But it makes such a difference once you've got, now I've got a team around me, a management team, we've got a board of directors. I feel like we've, that to me, that's one of the proudest things that I can say is that the people that we have in the business who are all really aligned around our mission and purpose and bring a whole lot of skills and, energy to the business.
Fantastic. And I believe I read that you also have a foundation through Heilala Vanilla. Is that correct?
Yes, we do, the Heilala Vanilla Foundation, which again is something I'm incredibly passionate about and proud of. We formed it back in 2013, registered it with the New Zealand Charities Commission. But it wasn't really until the disaster in January 22, which was the tsunami and earthquake and volcanic eruption that caused so much widespread damage. So we did fundraising with our community and raised over $180,000 within about 2 weeks. A large portion of that was from our US community, and then that enabled us to do emergency relief shipments to our vanilla growing community that was impacted a lot, and they also had COVID at the time, so we did COVID care packs. And then our big project was partnering with an NGO in Tonga, and we rebuilt a big shade house where over 20,000 vegetable seedlings can now grow and provide sustainable food to communities. So, I like to think of it as, community empowerment and development is really the output of what we're doing. Vanilla just happens to be a bit of a byproduct along the way, but the bigger picture to me is what it does for empowering rural communities.
Fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about the brand. You have such beautiful packaging and just a look to it. Has it evolved over time?
It has. The Heilala is the national flower of Tonga, and it's also the name of the eldest daughter of Alala Lilatu, who was the founder, or the man that gifted my father the land. So I just liked the name. That was no other reason. In those early days when I took it to some chefs in New Zealand, I'm like, what are we going to call this vanilla? You can't just call it Tonga vanilla. So Heilala kind of stuck with us, and then it's a little white flower that grows on a really indescript little shrub. But when you dip it in salt water, it turns that pinky red colour. So, and there's lots of myths and legends surrounding it. So we've sort of built the brand around that. It's the national, like I mentioned, the national flower of Tonga. And when I first looked at the vanilla category in the US some sort of 15 years ago, I thought it looked a bit boring. A sea of brown and cream. And
Sure.
I didn't want to be that. And I wanted to really show in the brand the origin of the vanilla and our, the foundation of our story. So, I take great pride in seeing the product on shelf and standing out.
It is just beautiful. And I know that you have a pretty wide range of different product types and also some flavors and things like that. Could you talk about how you get the inspiration for those new products?
Yeah, so we like to be innovative and keep things interesting and fresh and exciting, and we don't want to be the boring vanilla company. We obviously started with extract and then paste. Paste is actually our hero product, and particularly for chefs, when you meet a chef for the first time, particularly those really high-end chefs, they're like, oh no, we just use vanilla beans. And we're like, well, you've got to try our paste, because paste... our double fold paste, which is what chefs use, half a teaspoon is one vanilla bean, and it's a lot more consistent and economical. Other pastes are about 50% sugar. Ours is 5% sugar, so it's quite a different formulation. We've worked really closely with a research university in New Zealand for our sort of R&D side of the business. And then following that, we've done sugar and powders. And then, like you mentioned, more recently, our sort of new product development has been in the alcohol-free space. So that's one of those products is actually launched into Sprouts. That came about through, dietary requests for various cultures that didn't want alcohol in their diet, and also for applications where, typically you're using vanilla extract and the alcohol bakes off. Vanilla extract, as per FDA, has to be 35% alcohol. So we were like, how do we create an alcohol-free version? Which
Interesting.
we have successfully done. And just last week, we actually won the New Zealand Food Awards Supreme Award with our alcohol-free paste, which is new off the blocks. And then alongside that, we've done seasonal flavours. So, those are more around holiday season. So I think we started off with pumpkin spice, peppermint berry, and then last year we did butterscotch, apple pie, and I can't remember the third one. And then this year we've done 3 wellness ones. So we try and put them on our test, get consumer feedback through our D2C channel. And then the following season, they sometimes go into retail. So Sprouts have taken 3 flavours, seasonal flavours for this holiday season, which we're really excited about, that they're on shelf right now.
Fantastic. So this has been so great, Jennifer, learning more about your product. So we're almost out of time, but before you go, I'd love to have you participate in our final segment, which is called Take 5. 5 quick questions for our guests. But first, we're just going to pause for a quick break. So welcome back. I'm Gretchen Van Asselston of Specialty Food Association, speaking with Jennifer Boggiss of Heilala Vanilla. Let's jump into 5 questions for our final segment, Take 5. So Jennifer, what is your favorite thing about the specialty food industry?
It's the passionate people that I've met along the way, founders, growers, support crew, partners.
Excellent. My favorite thing too. They're the people, for sure. Is there something that SFA has made easier for you as an SFA member?
Yeah, I think entering the US market from New Zealand, SFA really provided that sort of instant community and network to connect in with.
Fantastic. And if you weren't running this vanilla business, what do you think you'd be doing?
As mentioned before, I'd probably still be an accountant.
Oh, no. What if you had a fantasy to, move on to the next thing?
Or, I don't know, a dancer or a Airbnb host.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we would definitely come visit you when you open your Airbnb, definitely let us know at SFA and we'll be down there for sure. So what's one piece of advice that you'd give to a new food business?
As I mentioned before, as soon as you can get people around you, you can't do everything, and it just makes the journey so much easier and much more enjoyable.
Wonderful. And then finally, how do you define specialty food?
Food that is not industrialized. As I mentioned, we're cold extraction 3 months and with a real focus on quality and origin and sourcing.
Wonderful. Well, Jennifer, thanks again for speaking with me today. Before we go, could you please tell everyone where they can find your products online and your website and everything like that?
Sure. So online, we're heilalavanilla.com, Heilala vanilla.com. We're on Amazon and we're with various retailers, as mentioned before, which will be listed on our website also, but obviously Sprouts, Harmon's, Bristol Farms, Erewhon, and numerous other smaller independent stores.
Fantastic. Well, you can find out more about this show at specialtyfood.com and heritageradionetwork.org. And please remember to follow wherever you get your podcasts. Come back often to get to know the people who are shaping the future of food. And if you're in the food industry yourself, consider becoming a member of SFA by visiting our membership section on specialtyfood.com. Special thanks to Heilala Vanilla and to Heritage Radio Network, the world's pioneer food radio station. This is Spill and Dish, a Specialty Food Association podcast. Spill and Dish, a Specialty Food Association podcast, is powered by Simplecast. Thanks for listening to Heritage Radio Network, food radio supported by you. Keep in touch at heritageradionetwork.org/subscribe.
Hey there, I'm Lee Ullman here with some big news from the National Young Farmers Coalition. We're partnering with Heritage Radio Network on a special season of The Farm Report. It's all about what's happening with the Farm Bill and how it impacts farmers and eaters.
I am growing diversified vegetables on land that's been in our family for 150 years.
And so with the pandemic, gentrification, property values going up, we had to sell the land and we lost it.
Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind this massive piece of legislation that shapes how we grow our food, what we eat, and so much more.
The problems we have had, those are things that come from earlier Farm Bill and USDA policy, right? Like Earl Butts, get big or get out.
It's my responsibility to know not only what I'm eating, but then like how that all came to be. And realize wow, this piece of legislation, all this money, it's technically something that I support as a taxpayer.
While Congress debates the next Farm Bill, this is not just an invitation to listen. It's a call to action. Be part of the conversation. Subscribe to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network, wherever you listen to podcasts.